Did you know that short sounds can be more damaging to your hearing than longer sounds are? Let's take a look at this. If you would do an experiment where you expose a trial group for noise bursts, like of different lengths. Some of them might be 1 second, 2 second, 5 second, and they can also be shorter, like 0.5 seconds, 100 milliseconds, 10 milliseconds, or 1 millisecond. So you get a ton of different noise bursts, like of many different lengths. And then you play them at a certain sound pressure level. Let's say you play them at 100 decibels. So if you listen to a like a 1 second burst and a 3 second burst, chances are that they will sound pretty much equally loud. And this is what you will find if you do a lot of measurements. So you have on this axis, what should we call burst duration. What's the proper unit? Milliseconds, perhaps. I don't know exactly at which length that these changes occur, but when you go to shorter and shorter and shorter bursts, this should be sound pressure level in dB, of course, on the y-axis. What will happen is that the curve will tilt up like this. So you will get this pattern. Somewhere here, I think it could be around 100, 150 millisecond. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember the exact number now. But this relates to our hearing and how that works. Because the hearing has a kind of latency. When an incoming sound hits your eardrum, it takes a little while for the ear and the brain and everything to identify how loud is this sound. And that takes about, if I recall correctly, maybe 150 milliseconds or something like that. I'm a bit tired, so I could be wrong here, but it's not important. The important thing is that there is a time where you have this latency. And when you go for shorter tone bursts, let's say you keep them at, I don't know, let's say 100 dB. So you have, I can't even read, we just say 100 here. So if you play bursts at 100 dB and you make them shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter, and when they get shorter, even shorter than the latency of your hearing, then they will not sound as loud because they're too short for your brain to detect how loud they actually are. And what happens is that the test persons will likely increase the volume of the tone burst to make it equally loud as a longer burst. So let's say you do an A-B comparison with a burst over here, and then you're going to compare it to a burst over here. Then my guess is that the trial person would increase the volume here. And then now it's equally loud to this 3 second burst, this really, really short burst. And the shorter they go, the more they tend to increase the volume to compensate. So this one means it's like perceived equal loudness. Do note this. This is the perception. This is the perceived loudness. It's not the actual loudness of the sound, because these are much louder. There's a lot more energy here compared to these ones. But they sound just as loud because of this latency in your hearing. Now, if you take a rifle and you blast a gunshot, bam, that's gonna be it's like an impulse. It's infinitely short bang with a ton of energy. So the gunshot is gonna be in this region here. So it's gonna be super loud. Like gunshot here. It could perhaps be like 140 dB or something in a rifle when you fire it, when you got it close to your ear if you don't have hearing protector. But it still, it won't sound as loud as it really is because your ear is just not fast enough. But you still expose your eardrums to the same energy, mathematically speaking, and physically speaking. And this is very important to know about, because this is valid for all kinds of impulsive noise sources. Could be when you use a hammer, like bam, could be a very strong sound, bam. And I actually did a video yesterday about playing the drums with electronic drums, and I found out that it's like 94 dB sound pressure level only from the quiet pads. So when you hit the pads, it can be up to 94 dB. So the pads, when you play the E drums, they sound quiet, but they aren't that quiet, because it's impulsive sounds. And even though they sound quiet, they can be damaging to your health. And this is very, very important to know about. There is another topic that is worth mentioning here, and that's called the stapedius reflex. But I think I'll save that one for another video, because our bodies are quite amazing. We actually have a built-in function to give us a little bit of protection against these kinds of sounds. But we'll leave that for tomorrow, perhaps. And into tonight's video, I'm wearing a pullover. I like the V-neck shape, green tie, green eyes, and I found a cool little detail here. You see, the logo type, it's also green. So you got green, green, green. So actually, an even better match would have been perhaps to choose an orange tie to this one, because then you would have green, green, orange. And that would have been slightly better. But this works. This works, of course it does. And I pair it with a pair of chinos, like beige. So I think this is pretty casual, nice outfit. See you later.